Hi, I'm Beth Augustine, and welcome to Bulldog Profiles. My guest on this edition is John Clarke, a 1973 graduate of RB and one of our newest Alumni Achievement Medalists. So welcome, John. Good to have you here. Congratulations on your award. And we'll talk a little bit about your career and your professional experience, but first we'd like to talk about your experiences at RB and what it was like during the early 1970s here.
Well, as I reflected back over the last couple of days after receiving this award, you know, my time at RB was magical. I loved every minute of it. We had some great experiences. I had great friends. I was an athlete. I played football here and played tennis for 3 years for Coach Engie.
Okay.
And it was overall some of the best years of my life.
Wonderful. Any particular classes that you recall or favorite teachers?
I had a couple of memories as we were going back, and I think the administration, when we were talking about our award, you know, reflect back on your time, and this word of discipline came up, which is so far-fetched for me because I don't think anyone would have described my years at RB as discipline. But there were a few coaches and teachers that provided a level of discipline. I'll give you a couple examples. We had a football game. I can't remember if it was, I was a junior or senior, and it was pouring down rain, ice cold outside. We were winning the game by a slight margin, and we couldn't wait to halftime to get into the clubhouse and in our locker room and get warmed up. So the horn goes off, signaling the halftime. The other team's running in, and Bill Vandermerk, the head coach, says, "We will meet over in the end zone. We're not going inside." And we're like, what? And he made us sit out there because he didn't want us to get warm, didn't want us to get soft at halftime. And I really think it was the reason we won that game. There was that little thread of discipline. And then there was a teacher, I don't remember if it was speech or theater, Mr. Cohen. And he was this slight man, very theatrical, and he would teach you about public speaking. And here I was, this, you know, big tough football player, not that big, but tough, thinking I was, and he would come in his class and he would make you stand up in front of everyone and give a speech, and then he would break that down almost to where you were in tears. You thought you had done a good job. And then he'd build you back up. And I think one of the reasons that I have this less fear of public speaking is because of his work. So those were two just amazing experiences. And like I said, discipline would not have been the definition my mother would have given of my 4 years at RB.
But nice to reflect back and think of those memories and maybe have helped you along the way to where you're at now.
Absolutely. It absolutely did.
So when you left RB, why don't you share a little bit about your path, your education, and maybe where that led you professionally?
At first, I wasn't sure. I thought I was going to get a degree in biology. I actually went to the University of Mississippi. We had friends there, and I spent 3 years there, had a great time. And then there was a summer when my father needed someone to run a program in Fort Wayne, Indiana. There had been an outbreak of a mosquito-borne disease, and we had gotten the contract. And he asked me if I'd go out there for the summer. And it changed everything. I got a perspective. We were doing mosquito control work out there.
This is a family company.
Yes, this is our family company. So I actually lived in a motel all summer long, ran the program for him, and he introduced me to a professor at the University of Kentucky who was in the field of medical entomology. And medical entomology is to study insects that affect man and their livestock. And I got passion for it. And so I switched schools, spent my last 2 years there studying entomology, and then decided to go on for a master's degree and actually went all the way through to a PhD at Iowa State University, studying the same medical entomology, which really helped me then when I came back to the family business. And I'm not sure if you're aware of the family business, but it's we were established in 1946 by my father and grandfather. The business actually started in a garage, my grandmother's garage in Riverside, and then he built it into a very nice business. So we are entering our 71st year of business. I'm the third generation of Clarke working in the business.
And where are you currently located? Where's the business located?
Our headquarters is in St. Charles, Illinois, and our manufacturing and service distribution centers is in Roselle.
So it seems like that experience that your dad gave you sort of led you down the path of going to the family business, because you hadn't always thought that was your path?
No, I didn't think it was my path at all, but that was definitely the change that I realized, oh, I understand this, I want to be part of this. And when I finished my PhD, then I came back to work for the family business. Again, at that point I wasn't sure. I thought, oh, maybe I'll be a professor. And then my father called and said, we have a job opening in sales. Not something you'd think about a PhD would want to do. But I traveled, so I took the job. I was working in Michigan and in Wisconsin for the company. And then over a period of time, he brought me into other parts of the business. And then he had some health setbacks in 1996, and then he turned the company over to me as president in 1996. Totally ill-equipped at the time. I was a bug doctor, as I like to say, had no business experience. And so then I actually went back to school and got a certificate in business administration so I would understand the business aspects.
The whole aspect of it. Well, after reading about the business, quite impressive, all the things that the company does. Maybe you could share some of the things that you are most proud of that you have done in the last 10, 15 years.
I would say in the last 10 years has probably been the most rewarding for me. About 10 years ago, I decided that I was going to change the business, that we were going to go through this change, that I wanted to take this 60-year-old chemical and service company and I wanted to make it more sustainable. And I challenged my whole management team that we are going to look through this entire organization through a sustainability lens. And it absolutely changed everything. We became a company, not a mosquito control company anymore, but we became a company that helps communities around the world become more livable, safe, and comfortable. And I realized that inside me there was this pent-up desire to create a company with greater purpose, but I quickly realized that it was also a pent-up desire within my whole organization. They didn't want to work for a mosquito control company, they wanted to work for a public health company.
Wanted to do something bigger.
Yes, and so we began to work through this journey and we set up some sustainability goals. In 2014, there were 5 years goals. We started in 2009 and they were 2014 goals, and we wanted to, for example, reduce our carbon footprint by 25%. We wanted 20% of our energy to come from renewable resources like solar and wind. We wanted to reduce our waste. We wanted to give back to the communities we lived and worked in. And we accomplished almost every single one of those goals. And so we then set bigger ones. Our manufacturing plants are zero to landfill facilities. 20% of our energy now is literally coming from solar panels that we have on our buildings. We've reduced our carbon footprint by 25% by going to more low-impact vehicles. So the whole company has galvanized around creating a flourishing public health company.
Your strategic planning definitely paid off then.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. And you're doing some work in other countries as well. trying to, I was reading something about the netting that you're doing.
Yes. We have, we work in a number of different countries now.
Okay.
We have offices in Mexico, Brazil, the Middle East, Australia, and one of our proudest of prouds, I think, is, there's a couple of them. One is that we set up the Clarke Cares Foundation, where the foundation raises money through concerts and golf outings and derby days, and then the company matches that dollar for dollar, and we buy bed nets. And we've partnered with Jimmy Carter's foundation, the Carter Center, and we provide them with the nets, and then they take them overseas to Nigeria, and they bring them out to the villages and train the people on how to use the nets and use drug therapy and education, and they have actually eliminated one of the diseases in 2 states in Nigeria because of this program. So I tell our company all the time, if you don't think a medium-sized company can make a difference, you're wrong, because we're doing it.
You're making a difference.
So that's one of our proudest of prouds. I think the most recent proudest of proud was last summer. We got a call from Miami-Dade, and they were getting Zika virus coming in from Puerto Rico and other of the Central and South American areas, and very quickly they got local transmission. So for the first time in the history of the United States, the CDC issued a travel advisory for women in their childbearing ages. And so we went down, and within about 30 days we had hired 150 people and had 45 crews out that were helping the city and the county stop the transmission. We actually stopped the transmission. It's the first time in history that they've shown that you could actually stop the transmission. So that transitioned us, I think, Beth, from a mosquito control company to really we are a public health company, because Zika has devastating effects on unborn children. And so it even galvanized the company more.
Yeah, truly making a difference. Yes. Yeah. When you learned that you were a recipient of this award, how did that make you feel?
Amazingly proud. I thanked them last night from the bottom of my heart. But Beth, what was even more important was that my father was given this award in 2003, 3 years before he passed away. And so when I went down there last night, the two of us are side by side.
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
So that meant, that I'm internally grateful for that. That I sit side by side on this wall of alumni achievers.
And I'm sure he would be incredibly proud where the company is at today and all the changes that are happening thanks to you and your team.
I think so. I think he'd be very proud.
Yeah. Any advice that you have for students as they are looking at their post-secondary plans, looking for career options? You obviously talk to a lot of people in your company, and you're meeting new people. So what advice could you give to young people today?
I think the most important one, and I'm sure others have said it, is follow your passion. But you may think your passion is one place. And so I think one of the best ways to find if that really is internships. I encourage students that are in their junior, senior years and then in going into college to find internships. We have lots of internships that we offer. And you may think that's the direction you want to go. I remember my daughter thought she wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay.
She worked with my brother, who's a veterinarian, for about 2 days and realized she didn't like the blood and everything that was involved.
Wasn't her calling.
Wasn't her calling. She's now an organic vegetable farmer, and that's her passion. And then make sure the organization or the enterprise that you go to work for lines up with your value system. Because if it doesn't, you're not going to have a very happy time there.
How do you promote or put the internships out there? How would a student or how would somebody find out about that?
Going to our website. They're on our website, and we are always looking for young, talented people. And in almost any field, but the environmental science, if they're thinking about biology or environmental science, we have lots of opportunities.
And you said you originally were going to major in biology. Were you always a science person when you were a student?
I don't know in high school if I
Okay.
was. I think I was just more enjoying life.
Okay. Well, even though you were enjoying life, you obviously have gone on to be very successful with a very successful company. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you very
and
much.
Congratulations on receiving this award. So very well deserved.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Again, I'm Beth Augustine, and thanks for watching Bulldog Profiles.